Okay, hi there. Welcome to the Fashionpreneur Talk with Gitana Styling Podcast. My name is Sandra Yari, and I am a stylist, I am a blogger, and I'm also a fashion entrepreneur consultant. I'm so happy that you're here. Today is episode number 2. I know that it has been a little while, so sorry about that. And I just listened to our first episode, and it was kind of slow, so I'm going to try to keep it more exciting this time. The first episode, I was trying to figure out the technology part of things, and I was a little, all over the place. So this time we're gonna do it better, and I hope that you enjoy it. If this is your first time here, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a stylist. I basically style and dress talent for fashion shows, photo shoots, films, and I also have the Fashion Entrepreneur Club, which is a place where I help fashion entrepreneurs grow their businesses. So the reason of this podcast is to have Fashionpreneur talk with you. You can always send me questions to info@gitanastyling.com. Info is INFO at Gitana, Gitana styling.com. So I'm here to be your friend and to answer your questions. If you're going through anything in your business, you can send me your question to my email. You can let me know, hey, don't share my name, or you can share your name, share where you're writing from, even include your business, and I'll be happy to share it on the next episode. So today's episode is going to be about going from employee to entrepreneur. So I get these questions all over and all the time in different platforms and in person. So I decided to record this episode answering all of them at once as best as I can. So questions like, when is the right time to leave my job and start being an entrepreneur and start my own business, right? Or how long does it take to be successful and be able to cover my bills? Or like, how much money do I need to start my business? Or like, how much money should I save before I start my business? And all I can say is there's no right answer to this question, to all these questions, but all I can do is share with you what has happened to me, what my journey has been like, and hopefully answer some of those questions and inspire you to take action and to start this journey right away. So let me give you a little bit of backstory. I think it was around 2013 when I started my own business, my styling business. And how did that happen? Well, I graduated in 2008 as a producer and a writer, and I had already had some experience doing some fashion events and fashion shows and that kind of thing. So I started doing some styling actually in my first job, like I explained in the first episode, but it really was the first time ever I thought about maybe I should do this on my own. Was let's see, the economy was very shaky, and I started working my first job in 2008, and after 3 years in, which I loved that job, the economy started to actually hit hard the business I was working in, and it was very hard for people to pay on time. We had a lot of customers, great customers, big companies, and they were having a hard time paying on time, and obviously that affected all of us in the company, and it just started getting worse and worse and worse to the point where my boss couldn't pay us. So there was a lot of frustration, of course. At that time, I lived at home with my parents because I had just graduated, and I was a very good saver, so I was good, saving my money and paying my bills. I had very, few responsibilities, but obviously it was frustrating going from like getting my steady paycheck and then all of a sudden struggle because, some clients were not paying. So it was like the first time after 3 years in that I realized like, wow, when you depend on someone, when you receive a paycheck and then all of a sudden you can't, your life could turn really crazy. And I was lucky, like I said, to be living at home still. But the people that I work with, they were not living at home. They were parents, they had kids, or they had bigger responsibilities. They had to pay for many things, and they were having a really hard time. So it was the first time, I didn't think like, oh, I have to open my business, but it was the first time that I realized the power of generating your own income and having control of that instead of depending on people, right? So actually, when that happened, I just started freelancing. That was my first, reaction. I had been freelancing up to that point on the fashion side of things. I had my fashion blog, and I did freelance with some magazines and things like that on the side, aside from having my production job. And what I did is I just turned more into that place. I was like, okay, my regular job is struggling and it cannot pay me all at once, and we started having all these problems. I'm gonna go to my freelancing jobs and try to get more of those to compensate, right, while this gets fixed. And what happened was I started generating more income doing my freelance work, and eventually got to a point where my boss did end up paying all of us and everything, but he couldn't sustain keep the office. So we just all became actually freelancers. We stopped having a 9 to 5, and then we started freelancing with him on projects. So a client would come in and would hire him to do a commercial or a film or whatever production they needed, and then he would hire us for that task in particular, instead of having us the whole day at the office, which anyways we were working the whole day. Is just that projects started to coming less and less, and we basically became freelancers. So luckily for me, because I was doing the other freelance work, the transition wasn't that bad because I was kind of used to it. But like I said, it's always very hard to go from having a paycheck to just not knowing where the money is coming from or what time. So it was kind of like the first time I experienced that firsthand. So what happened was I was so young. I was just 3 years in business after graduating, right? And so the natural thing was I kept doing freelancing, and I kept looking for a big job. And eventually that big job came, and I was a producer, a writer, and a stylist, also working with a web channel. And I worked there. It was a beautiful job. I was, the best job I ever had. It was so much, I did everything that I like to do. I was being very creative. I had a great team, and it was going great. And at some point, after like a year, I think, they had a problem, like an internal problem, and they had to deal with actually a lawsuit. It was nothing that they did wrong. It was just one person who was trying to take advantage of them and get money from them. But when that kind of thing happens, everything stops and they have to go through the whole process. And we were basically out of a job from one day to the next. And I have to tell you that at that moment, my husband, who was then my boyfriend, he also worked at the company. He had a project with us, so he was getting income from that company. I was getting my income from that company, and at that point, we were engaged and planning our wedding, and from one day to the next, we didn't have a job. And we already were like halfway through the planning of the wedding and everything. So we had to go through with the wedding. Of course, we wanted to get married also, but we were without a job. So it was the second time where I was like, this thing, the economy is shaky. People, life throws you curveballs and you have to be prepared. And again, at that point, I was living with my parents, I was saving, and I was still freelancing. But I went from having a very nice paycheck to not having any money coming in except for my gigs that I did on the side. So it was the second time that life told me, hey, these things could happen, right? And then after that, I kept freelancing. And then to make the story short, that happened like 3 more times. Okay. At some point I got a very nice job again. I worked with them 2 or 3 years. And then something happened to the company, another job. It was just so stressful. It got to a point where it was affecting my health and I was like, I can't do this job anymore. So in 2013, after already being in the business for a long time, learning so much, doing so many, different things, perfecting my styling, being a better producer, doing great writing, I was like, okay, this is not happening again. Like, I need to take control of what's happening. I don't care about the economy. I don't care about what's happening to these companies. Not in a bad way. Of course, I care about the people. But I was like, I cannot keep counting on these people to support me and provide me with the stability and provide my household with stability. I was already, married and we had responsibilities. So I was like, I can't afford this. And at some point I will have kids and I don't want to be in this position that all these people are going through where they're desperate because, they don't have enough in the bank and they don't know when their next paycheck is coming. Because every time, one of these things happen, it would take me 2 to 3 months, right, to find a new job, a new full-time job. And the only thing that got me through those 3 months was my freelancing. So I decided for the first time after the last job, like, okay, this is it. I'm opening my official styling business and I'm gonna do this on my own, and at least I count with me and I'm gonna have more control about this situation and just get going. So it was a very radical decision for me. I didn't plan it that well. It was just like, this is it. I was tired of what I was going through. I felt like already I had enough experience. This happened between 2008 that I graduated in 2013. So I already felt like I had more experience. And I said, I'm going to keep freelancing, but I'm going to have control of this. And I'm going to open my business so I can start growing that while I freelance and have more control. So I did save a little bit and put it on the side. I believe it was 3 months of bills at that point, and I decided to start joining business groups to start, telling people, hey, this is what I'm doing. I opened my styling business and this is what I'm doing. This is what I've done so far. These are all the commercials, TV shows, etc. that I have styled, produced, etc. And just throwing myself out there. If I would have to do it again, I would have probably saved more than those 3 months. And not because you're not going to start making income. It's just that you can start making income and then maybe a slow month comes in, or maybe you're figuring out so many things building your own website and figuring out marketing and figuring out so many different things that you can waste a lot of time in those things and not focus on the clients. And then all of a sudden you're not bringing money in. So if I would have to do it again, I would save more money, probably at least 6 months, of my bills, of being able to pay my bills and still have money on the side for emergencies and that kind of thing. I would recommend to have support. It's so important to have support. When I started, I just started going to these business groups, but these business groups for me were helpful because I met people, I got some clients, but I needed support in my specific area of how to build my fashion business. And it wasn't until a few years in that I discovered a membership and an online platform where I could get some of these answers. And that's when I really started more thinking as a CEO and implementing certain things on a regular basis. And my business started to grow even more. So in terms of the money, I answered that question. In terms of the support, that's like the number one thing. And you also need support, like how do you say this, like emotional support. And your parents, your husband, your friends can only do so much. People who are going through the same thing, people who are also fashion entrepreneurs like yourself, are the people who are really going to provide the most support. So make sure you find groups where you can talk to people like yourself that are developing businesses as well, and specifically fashion businesses, which is why I created the Fashion Entrepreneur Club, and where you can ask questions. Because what happened to me was I had all these questions, and for me to get an answer back then, I would go to Google, right? And just Google this thing and find all these tons of posts and read through all these different opinions, and it would just take a long time. Nowadays we have the luxury of having so many groups out there where you can see people's work, you can go to their social media, see what they're doing, see if they're people who are doing great work, and start listening to them, connect with them through a podcast like this one or through a Facebook group, and ask them questions. And they probably have products that can help you. They have classes, they have coaching, all kinds of things, and take advantage of that, because you're gonna have very tough days. You're gonna go from having security to having no security at all, and from having someone tell you what to do to you have to figure out what is it that you have to do, and try to figure out a schedule, and try to figure out how much time you're gonna dedicate to each area, because it's not only finding the client, it's building your website, it's creating your marketing, it's doing so many different things. And I don't want to discourage you at all. I'm just telling you in advance, because I wish someone would have told me in advance. So however, if you do have these pieces in place, it's gonna be easier, and you're gonna enjoy the journey way more. And I do have to tell you that it's the best journey you can take in life, because you are gonna get to a point where you are gonna generate the kind of income that you want. And if you do want that freedom, if you are looking to spend more time with your family, if you are looking to balance life, if you are looking to, and balance life, I'm not talking about being able to do everything or anything like that, but balancing in the sense that you can actually start to create a schedule and a life based on what you want and not what someone else tells you. So balance for you might be like being able to take your kids to school and be with them after school, and while working on your business, and being able to go to yoga in the middle of the day instead of being stuck at the office, like different things like that. So not balance in the sense that everything is the same and everything is perfect. Balance in the sense that you find that kind of flow and strategy and lifestyle that works for you and your family. So let's see, the covering your bills part. So I recommend, if I would have to do it again, to start building that business while you're still in your 9-to-5. So I didn't do it that way. I just quit my 9-to-5 with the money that I had saved and the plan of like offering these styling packages, and just went with it. If I would have to do it again, I would have started doing that before. And I did do it here and there with my freelance work, but I wish I would have had a regular flow of income instead of just going through the freelance process here and there, just so you feel better, so you know where the money is coming from, so you have a little more stability. So if you are in your 9-to-5, start working at night, start working weekends, on creating that flow, creating that system that is going to work for you and your business. And once you have proved that system, Once you start generating that income that makes you feel safe, then I would quit the job. Now, this is just a recommendation. Some people prefer doing what I did, which is just having kind of like a plan, being kind of prepared and just going in because they love that push and the energy and they get it done that way. Some people like saying, hey, I'm going to give myself 6 months to do this and then I jump in. Some people say I'm going to give myself a year. So like I said, there's no right answer. Everyone's different. Everyone has a different business. So whatever works for you. But if you're asking me my opinion, I think the best way would be to start generating income, start generating an amount that feels good to you, that can cover your expenses, and then quit your job, okay? Let's see, what else can I tell you? So when is the right time? Like I said, whenever it feels right to you. How much money do I need? Only you know that. You know your expenses. I would recommend just making sure you know what's that amount of money that you need monthly to feel okay, and how much amount of money you need in the bank to feel okay in case there's an emergency, and multiply that to how many months you want to wait, or how much time you're gonna take to leave your job. How long does it take to be successful? Who knows? Some people take a very short amount of time. Some people take a year. Some people take 3 years. Me, I've been in business. I opened my own styling business in 2013. Right now is 2019, and there has been ups and downs. There's been great months. There have been months where they're not that great, and I focused on creating content, which is also part of the process. You're gonna notice that there's seasons for everything. There's seasons where you need to create content, seasons where you need to market, seasons where you need to be working really hard. So whenever you have those downtimes, they're actually not downtimes. They're time for you to take care of other side of another part of your business. Because if you're always running, you cannot grow your business. So I would say that this is a very hard question to answer. Everybody has a different kind of business, a different personality, and it takes different amounts of time to get it going. So just pick a number that feels good to you. Again, come up with a plan. Start applying your plan, start generating the income that you want, that you feel safe, and go from there. And I do recommend also keeping an open mind. Maybe what you start with doesn't work, and that's okay. This is all going to be an experiment. That's something that people don't tell you. You're gonna start and you're gonna realize, this service doesn't really give me back the amount of income that I want, but this service that I thought it was like whatever is giving me more income. So then you start changing your business and focusing more on that service and things like that. You have to stay flexible and start recognizing when you need to make those switches to make that business grow. And something I want to tell you also is that something that it's normal and that happens to everyone, even those humongous companies, even the company that you're working for right now, if you're still working for someone, or the companies that you have worked for, go through this every day. They have good days, they have bad days, they put campaigns out there that don't work, they have days where they have no sales. They're always trying to figure out everything. And the difference between you and them is that maybe they've been in business for a longer time, and they have generated income already, and they have proved to the market that they're stable, but it's stable on inside quotation marks, because it's crazy. They have crazy days, and they're still like you, asking their customers what they need and changing things all the time and doing marketing and getting out there and talking to people, which is the same thing that you're gonna do. And the benefit that we have as entrepreneurs starting in this age of online business is that we don't have to we don't have to have an office. We can do everything online. We don't have as many expenses. We can start a business with really very little money, right? If you have your business to pay your hosting for your website and your website provider, then you're basically good to go. It's the time that you're gonna invest putting these things together, and it's all on you on generating this income. So keep that in mind as well. So to summarize, number one, make sure that you have money saved up. If you want a specific amount, I would recommend at least 6 months saved of your expenses, of your monthly expenses, and a little bit more for emergencies. Number two, quit whenever it feels right to you. My recommendation is to kind of have a plan and some packages in place. And my ultimate recommendation is to wait until you're generating the income to cover your expenses to then quit. The next thing is also get support, business support. So they teach you all the things that you don't know, like how to build your website and how to do social media and all that kind of stuff. And also get emotional support in the sense of, join groups where you have fashion entrepreneurs, where you can share experiences, ask questions, and get unstuck every day to move forward and grow your business. If you do these things, if you take care of these things, you're going to have a more pleasant journey. It's a very exciting journey. It's a very rewarding journey. It has definitely its lows and downs, ups and downs, but it's very rewarding. You grow so much as a person. You can create very amazing things. You can actually provide your audience with the things that they're really looking for that are not out there yet. You get a chance to be very creative, and I do believe that we have to do the things that make our heart sing. That's how the money comes in. That's how we fulfill our purpose. That's how we help the people around us. So go ahead and get started. So if you have any particular questions, know that we're always here for you and that you can always send them to me. Our email is info@gitanastyling.com. Gitana is GITANA styling.com. You can send them and tell me, hey, don't mention my name, or hey, share my name, share my business name, and I'll be happy to do that as well. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you enjoy this episode, and I will see you guys soon.